Hello, Bookworms. Welcome to the Weekend Readers Book Club. Thank you for joining us. In this episode, we have finished reading and are going to be discussing the 2009 release, sports, feel-good, young adult story, $1 Million Throw by Mike Lupica. Now, this story evolves around a 13-year-old boy named Nate, or also known as his nickname, Brady. He got that nickname because, well, Tom Brady of the New England Patriots at that time was his favourite NFL quarterback or player, and Nate, he's the quarterback of his own football team. Through the story, we meet Nate's friends, his best friend Abby, and his parents, and we follow them all along as Nate does a purchase at his local sports memorabilia shop. He brought a signed Tom Brady ball, went into the draw, and won the chance to step out on the field, Gillette Field, the home of Tom Brady and the New England Patriots at halftime during an NFL game. And his objective is simple: throw a ball through a target 30 feet away. If he misses, the whole world's watching him. If he gets it through, he becomes a local legend. He gets the notoriety of actually doing it, and he walks away with a cool $1 million. This story takes place just as Brady purchases the football. It gets into the draw. It follows him being announced as a winner. It follows him through the pressure of playing football, but being that kid that everybody else wants to be, because everybody knows he won that chance to throw that football through that target to win $1 million. And it also covers up until game day and then slightly past that. So I read the book, and here are my thoughts on $1 Million Throw by Mike Lupica. Now, while this story is a football story, yes, there is a lot of football in this, both Brady or Nate telling the reader and explaining how he got into liking football. It also covers off his games, playing as the quarterback and being targeted because everybody knows he is that boy that has been chosen. But the story itself is a lot more than football. The relationship between Nate and his mother and father was absolutely great to read. It sort of highlighted a teenager's perspective of something that's happening in real life. His parents working second jobs, having money issues, and Nate or Brady knows that the money could help out the family a lot, but he's trying to take on board that, yes, he loves football, yes, he also loves his opportunity, but there's a lot of pressure going into it because this could be life-changing for his family. The best storyline in this book is, though, the relationship between Brady and Abby. It's heartbreaking and also so educational. It tells the reader that, if you're not educated about something, there are avenues to go get educated on, so you can understand different people and different people's circumstances. I won't go into the story because I think the relationship between Nate and Abby is a huge part of the story. And if you haven't read $1 Million Throw and you are going to read it, it's probably best just to keep it, spoiler free, because that there is a big part of the story. And it's really well done because it made me think of, okay, ideally this is a lot for a teenager to take on board, but if the teenager did take this on board, they need to have channels to educate and ask questions about. Mike Lupica did this really well with Brady because he was able to interact with Abby on many levels, but also bounce those levels that is happening with him and Abby's relationship off his own parents, which was really good to see. Everything was open and it was great. Now, as I said, this book does have a bit of football in it. And it's one of those things when you can take something that you've seen somewhere else and apply it to something that you're reading. There is a movie called The Replacements. Keanu Reeves. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. It's awesome. Anywho, in that movie, Keanu is a quarterback and he talks about quicksand. Not quicksand, the sand that you sink in, but having quicksand on the football field as a quarterback where one thing goes wrong and another and another and another. And it just feels like you're just, you're getting overtaken and everything. There's more you try, the more you sink. And Mike Lupica described this really well, and especially in a few of Brady's games where pressure from the game, pressure from his relationship with him and Abby, pressure from his relationship with him and his parents, the money issues, and the pressure of just having the opportunity to throw a ball through a hole to win $1 million affected his game. And he had quicksand. Yes, it was great to read. The ending of the book for me was... I get why the ending finished the way it did. I get it. However, it left a lot of questions to be answered. I won't spoil the ending. I get why Mike Lupica chose that ending, because it wrapped up a huge storyline. And it made sense in the sense that, okay, you've got this opportunity, why not do this? Which is, the ending or the options Brody chose to do, at the end of the story. It was okay, but I mean, yeah, not for me, but I can understand the ending because there are some life lessons to learn from, and I would hope a young adult reading this could actually pick up on those. So that was really well addressed and, delivered via Mike Lupica in $1 Million Throw. So, with all this being said, will $1 Million Throw by Mike Lupica go on my bookshelf? I want to say yes. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. The life lessons, the story, the relationships. Not so much the ending, but I get the ending. Everything for me was on point. It was a great read. I enjoyed it. However, am I going to read this book again? Unfortunately not. So, while I rate $1 Million Throw very highly, unfortunately, it's just not going to go on my bookshelf because I'm not going to read this book again. So, I am going to put it in the box to be donated, and hopefully some new reader will pick this book up and enjoy it. But I would say to you, if you haven't read $1 Million Throw by Mike Lupica, and you've seen it and you've gone, oh, maybe I should give it a whirl, give it a whirl. It's a fun little book. I really enjoyed it, but unfortunately, I wouldn't read it again. So, as it customs here on the Weekend Readers Book Club, as one book closes, another book has to open. And it is now time to find out what the next read for the Weekend Readers Book Club is. Bookworms, we can confirm that the next read is One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus. That title sounds familiar. That author sounds familiar. It should, because a few episodes ago, I read One of Us is Lying. And I said that it was the craziest book that I've read this year. It was batshit crazy. I learned that they made a sequel to it. We're reading a sequel. I want to see how good this book is, how it compares to the first book in the series, and is it as batshit crazy as the first book? So, One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus. You are the next read for the Weekend Readers Book Club. So Bookworms, that was my review and discussion of $1 Million Throw by Mike Lupica, a sports book that I did enjoy, but just unfortunately I wouldn't read again, so it's not, not to be kept, will be passed on to somebody else and hopefully they'll pick up and read it. Now, if you wish to engage with us, you can. We are on Instagram, Weekend Readers Book Club. We are also on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts from, under the name The Weekend Readers. Until next time, thank you again for joining us, and Bookworms, happy reading.